Hi, Dhwani. I guess we can start with the session, and meanwhile, people would be joining in, and we can have this an interactive and interesting conversation.
Absolutely. We can go ahead. Yes.
Great. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining in. Today we have Dhwani Shah with us, and we will be talking about how to create like stronger impressions in the first go. So, hi Dhwani. Welcome to FIFA Talks. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Harshita. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing great. I hope you had a good weekend. Well, it's still
Yes.
going, but yeah.
Yes. 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 Started out on a good note.
Great, great. Okay. So let's start with the session, and with the PPT, we can also interact. We can also have conversations, and this is a good topic to talk about because this is like a thing that we have been told since childhood, right? That create powerful first impressions. First impression is the last impression, and something. So it
Hmm.
would be a great topic to discuss.
Great. Yes. Thank you so
You
much,
can go
Harshita.
ahead and introduce yourself, and
Yes.
then we can start.
Absolutely. Yes. So, as we all know, we are here today to discuss about creating powerful first impressions. So, before starting out, let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I am fit to speak about this topic. So my name is Dhwani and I live in Chennai. I'm born and brought up here. And I'm a personality enhancement coach, an internationally certified image consultant and soft skills trainer. And I've been in the education and training space for more than 7 years now. And I have a total experience of almost 11 years. So what I do as part of my work is I help people shed inhibitions and come out of their shells and become more confident about themselves and their capabilities. And I do this by way of upskilling them in their biggest problem areas, which is appearance, behavior, and communication. Today, if we see in this speaking, so yes, I work around all kinds of soft skills that people need to upskill themselves with in order to achieve their personal and professional goals. So that was a little bit about myself, and these are my uh, you know social media handles for LinkedIn and Instagram. It's called at Upskill with Money. Do feel free to get in touch with me in case after the session if you feel that I can help you out with something. All right. So on that note, let's get straight into the topic for today, which is do you create powerful first impressions? All right. So just a second. Yeah. So the term first impressions means it is an event when one person encounters the other person and forms a mental image of that person. And this happens in a span of just 5 seconds of meeting someone. Yes, you heard it right, just 5 seconds. So years ago, the research said that first impressions can be formed in about 60 seconds, almost a minute. But as research kept advancing, it came down to 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and now it's about 5 to 7 seconds. That's how much time a person takes to judge you before you even start speaking. All right, so that is first impressions. Now this might be the first time for some of you to come across this concept, or you might have heard about this and kind of have a vague idea. So, however, today we will deep dive a little bit into the topic and understand why is it important and what are the implications of it on our daily lives. Why is it so important? Why should we give it so much priority? Okay. So we will first talk about what first impressions are, next why they are important, and we'll see some anecdotes to prove the same. And lastly, we will discuss a few elements which form the first impressions. All right. So are we good to go? Yes.
Yes, Dhwani, we are good to go.
Awesome. Great. So for now, let's kind of leave the right hand side of the presentation for later. Let's focus on the left hand side. Okay. We all carry certain skills, certain experience, and abilities, but people we meet often judge us by what meets the eye, right? It is ironical. It's ironical because we as kids were always asked not to judge a book by its cover. But let me enlighten you, friends. Everybody does that. Everybody. You do it. I do it. All of us do it. Maybe we don't do it consciously, but subconsciously we are making judgments by just looking at people. Maybe, yes, we are not concluding. There is a thin line of difference between judging and concluding, because concluding means that you're having a fixed, closed mindset, and you don't change your thought process or your views come what may. But judgments can change over time, but it takes a lot of time for it to change, mind you. All right, so we are judging for sure even before the person opens their mouth to speak. Our brain has already formed the first impression of that person. Okay, now let's move to the right hand side. What happens is, once these people who meet you form a first impression of you, they decide in their mind. They decide, not think, they decide in their mind everything about you based on the first impressions that you create. What do they decide? They decide what values you carry, what is your authority, what is your trustworthiness level, what kind of a personality are you, your intelligence quotient, your economic background, each and everything. All these things are framed in just in 5 seconds, in just a jiffy. There's not much time for this. Okay, this is how it happens. Now, moving on, let's look at this quote which was published in Forbes. Like it or not, you are being judged by how you look, how you dress, and how you carry yourself. And if you are lucky, then how do you do your job? It might be sounding very unfair, but let me tell you, the world is unfair. The world is unfair. Before you get the opportunity to, you know, prove yourself with your technical abilities, with your abilities to work in an environment, you are already being judged by how you carry yourself, because that portrays your personality. All right, let's look at one more quote over here. It says, the clothing we wear affects our psychological states as well as our performance levels. Individuals can intentionally choose to wear clothing that will induce more desirable psychological states and enhance task related performance. This was a conclusion made by researchers of the Northwestern University on a topic called enclothed cognition. We're going to look at this concept a little later in a couple of slides, which will come up. And this is what it says is that the way we dress up affects our state of mind and affects our performance, period. It definitely does, and I think all of us here would have experienced this in, especially in the last couple of years when the pandemic had hit hard, and all of us were, working from home. We were working from home in the comfort zone of our, bedroom or office space, whatever it is. But most of us were wearing pajamas all day, right? Or maximum, when we had to meet somebody online, we were just dressing up on the first half of our body, and the bottom half was just carefree. We were wearing shorts or pajamas or track pants or things like that. What happened as a result? What happened as a result? As a result, we all felt lethargic. We all felt sleepy. We felt lazy. And we probably also felt underperforming or underconfident. Why did we feel so? We felt so because of the kind of clothes that we were wearing. The way we dress, the way we dress, it impacts our feelings. And the way we feel, it impacts our performance. So it is said in our profession, you've got to dress the part to feel the part. And to feel the part will result in acting the part. Okay. Of course, we are not trying to say here that first impressions, demand you to be suited in a match suit or blazers all the time. No, nothing like that. But you got to dress up for the occasion. You got to dress up for the role that you are playing. There are roles where people need to dress up casually, in industries like the creative industry, the advertising, or any sorts of those industries where you need to express yourself in different ways. But when we talk about a proper corporate, atmosphere, a proper corporate job, there is a certain level of formality that needs to be instilled. There's a certain type of authority that you need to portray, right? So in such situations, you need to dress up accordingly. You don't have to look like Aishwarya Rai or Ranbir Kapoor. No, it's silly to even think like that. It's silly. However, there is some science behind deciding what is best for you. There are a lot of factors that go into this. It's not as easy as you think, and we will look at this in the next couple of slides. Okay, we'll look into that. All right.
Yeah, and I highly agree with this because we all know about the working from home scenes that we have currently. So people in the same clothes do everything, right? They wake up, they have their breakfast, they work the entire day. So that's like
Absolutely.
having yourself in a particular type of clothes will get you there in the particular state that you have to do this and then you have to do this.
Exactly, exactly. So if you wear track pants all day, no
Yeah,
matter which role you're playing, you will have the exact same mindset throughout the day.
right,
And
right.
also, if you wear blazers all day, you will have the exact same mindset. In fact, if you're in your blazer and you're talking to a child, you
Hmm.
may not be that, free with the child. You may
Right.
still be restricted.
Right, because it's a
And
formal attire. Yeah,
exactly. And the child also may not be able to approach you that well because you're in such a strict attire, right? So that's
right,
the kind of effect it has. Thank you so much, Harshita, for adding your 2 cents.
right. And that's
Let's
why every like if you see children, so they keep on changing the clothes. In the morning they are something else, and then they go to school, so they have their attire, and then they go to play. They have a different attire, so that actually makes them going from one activity to another.
Hmm. Yes, yes,
They keep
perfect.
on going for that. Yeah.
Yes, true. Okay, moving forward, we have another quote here by one of the most best-selling authors of recent times. He's no more right now, but he said you cannot climb the ladder of success dressed in the costume of failure, right? You cannot
Right.
do that. People don't create first impressions consciously. Let's understand this. I don't think before meeting somebody, okay, I'm going to meet this person, let's judge how this person is going to be dressed, how is this person going to carry himself. No, it doesn't happen consciously. It is just a subconscious brain activity. It is a very normal brain activity, and there is a science behind it. This is not some kind of superficial yarn. Okay, there is a science behind it, and it happens in a matter of seconds. Now, this theory it dates back to centuries. Let me share this with you. When there was no proper civilization and humans lived in jungles, the only objective that these humans had was to stay away from threat or stay away from any kind of harm or danger and hunt for food to survive. So, for example, if they see something or someone approaching them, they need to gauge immediately whether this is threat for me or is it pleasure for me. This was their objective all day. That is the same thing right now, but just in a different context. We are making first impressions to gauge whether this person who is approaching me, whether this person is worth building a relationship, whether this person is worth spending time with or not, whether this person is going to harm me or be helpful or useful to me. This is the first impression that we frame in the first few seconds of meeting the person. All right. I'm sure you agree with me. Yes. All right. Let's discuss about an experiment that was, done a few years ago. So this experiment was done in the US, where there were a group of students who was shown a 10-second clipping of a teacher, of a professor teaching a particular subject. And then just after 10 seconds, they were asked to fill a feedback form. All right, fine, they filled the feedback form. Next, there was another set of students who were actually the actual students of this professor who went through this subject for the entire semester. And after the entire semester was done, these students were asked to fill the same feedback form for this particular professor. And you will be surprised to know that the feedback of both the groups were more or less similar. similar to each other with respect to the impact that this teacher created. It was similar. So, what does it mean? It means that the first impression is powerful. Okay, first impressions are visual, they are instantaneous, and we are all visual creatures, and we make these instant judgments when we meet others, and we are not conscious of them. Okay, so these impressions, you might have understood by now, ladies and gentlemen, that these impressions don't weave around our academic qualifications or our experiences or our exposure. It weaves around how we portray ourselves to the world out there. How are we projecting ourselves by our visuals, right? Our appearance is actually like our visual resume. You could call it like that. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, I just want to know, what is it that comes to your mind when you look at this picture? What kind of a personality is this?
This reminded me someone of a thief kind of person, like not matlab not so educated, but yeah, um, that we
Yes.
know about it. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's from a movie I know. So yeah,
Yes, yes, of course. We all know Amitabh Bachchan. So he is dressed here like this, and he portrays himself to be a thief or a gangster, right? So a very
right,
aggressive personality, right?
right.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Now let's look at this picture here. Here again, Amitabh Bachchan is dressed in different attire. So can you tell me briefly what differences can you see here? What every personality means here?
Okay. The first one in the red, it is a coolie, someone lifting the bags. The second one in the white is someone old person, uh, um, like having some tea. So an
Hmm.
old one.
Hmm.
Third one is like a young one, a
Hmm.
young person from a village.
Hmm.
The fourth person, it's again, I guess it's a gangster type person
Hmm.
in the blue shirt. And
Hmm.
then in the fifth one, it's like a middle-aged person,
Hmm.
and it's the personality reflects is like a good one,
Hmm.
a
He
simple a
looks
simple living man, yeah,
exactly. He looks like a family man, right?
family man, right.
Right. Okay. Now the last picture here we have here is again Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. What do you think about him here?
Yeah, now he seems like a well-educated, well-trained person. So obviously because of the attire, and now he has much more experience, much more things, but that's different. But formally from the attire, it seems that they have a like brand image, kind of
Hmm.
thing. So yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. So this image here shows that he is an authoritative person. He's a powerful
authoritative,
person,
right.
right? So all these images, what do you think changed in all these images? What were the changes from the?
Primarily the change was in the attire and the first impression that was created by seeing the pictures. Matlab, we don't
Hmm.
know the reality behind that. Maybe someone in that gangster looking attire is a good person, but
Hmm.
in like the first impressions was
Hmm.
the thing like that created from the
Hmm.
clothes he's wearing, yeah.
What else changed apart from clothing? What else changed?
Maybe facial expressions, maybe way of standing, maybe the whole body language of the person as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. You bang on, Harshita, bang on. I
Yeah,
think what changed here is the clothing, the grooming as well changed, right? The
right,
gestures, the
right.
expressions, and the mannerism, right? This is what forms the first impressions. It is
Right.
all about what people can visually see, your appearance. There is a saying that you never not communicate. As long as people can see you, you
Hmm.
are communicating something with your appearance. So, in more than 50% cases in the world, for example, when an executive gets promoted as a manager, the
Right.
HR usually says that they have lost a good executive and gained a bad manager. And they
Okay.
say this because the newly appointed manager is actually not realizing that his role and goal has changed. He's no longer just an executive. He needs to change the way he portrays himself. He speaks to people. He has to be more. He or she has to be more authoritative, right? There needs to be some more aura that goes around the person.
Right. Right.
So this is called as the enclogged cognition, where it is important if your success depends on the opinion of others, then you have to take care of your first impressions,
Right.
right? That is the whole point. Now, in this picture again, you can see Kidzania. This is a picture of this. So Kidzania is, I'm sure most of you know, it is there in a couple of cities in our country. I think Mumbai, Delhi, and maybe a few more cities. It's a role playing kind of a theme park where there are about 30 to 40 different rooms where each room is allocated to different kind of professions. And kids can buy tickets to whichever experience they want. And for example, if a kid wants to experience that of a fire extinguisher, then he goes inside, and these kids are shown some videos of how fire extinguishing people work, and there'll be like a siren that goes off, and the kids have to run around and take care of the activities and put off the fire. It's a fake fire, not a real fire, and put off the fire and things like that. Okay, so in all of these rooms, these kids are given those particular attire to wear. They are given these clothes to wear. Why is it like that? Why can't kids just wear the same clothes that they came from, that they wore and came from home? Because they will not feel like that personality,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So that is the kind of power that clothes can have on you. All right, that's what I was trying to communicate by this example. And let's move forward. The next part that we're going to talk about is the elements of first impressions. Now, by now, we know that the four elements of first impressions is clothing, grooming, body language, and etiquette. All of this is visual. All of these are visual elements. All right. Now,
Right.
well, let's first discuss about clothing. Now, you might think that clothing is something so basic. I think I can do this easily. No, it's not true. There is a lot of art and science that goes behind clothing, and at some point of time, you may need the help of an expert, the help of a consultant who can help you to decide what is your personal style. The personal style for every individual is different. Okay, and there is a whole process that goes behind deciding your personal style. You first need to do your lifestyle analysis. You need to also do an image scope. Where do you see yourself, and then decide on what is your personal style based on a lot of elements. Now, what are the clothes? What are the elements of clothing? We have the line, the shape, the texture, the pattern, and the color. I'm just trying to introduce this to you. You don't have to really understand this in depth. But what I'm trying to say is that each of these elements in your piece of clothing has a particular impact. The kind of lines in your clothes, right? If you wear clothes which have stripes, which are vertical stripes, then it is going to make you look taller. If you wear clothes which has horizontal stripes, then it will make you look wider. Again, the same thing with shape. If you wear clothes with more rounder shapes, it's going to make you look more fuller and things like that. The color plays a very, very important role. If you wear neutral colors like the whites, blacks, grays, and beiges, it will make you look appear more formal. Whereas the other colors, the brighter ones, will make you look more vibrant, right? So, according to the line, shape, color, texture, and pattern, we can dress up according to the roles, goals, and occasions. The complicated part is here, guys. The complicated part is that we need to first analyze what is our body shape, what is our face shape, what is our personal coloring, and then decide what will suit us. Now, we might think that black is a color that suits everybody. I would say here as an expert that yes, black is a universal color. However, there are different shades and tints of black. Not every black goes for every individual. All right. So there needs to be a personal coloring analysis to be done, and then decide on what is the clothing that you need to wear. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next element here, which is grooming. Very simply, grooming is something that makes you look presentable, that makes you look pleasant, and that makes you look professional, right? Okay. Now, any gender, be it men, women, or anybody, grooming is important. When it comes to hair, men need to take care that their hair is neatly combed or brushed or gelled, whatever the case be. And if it is long hair, then tie it up. Especially, I'm talking about a corporate, atmosphere here, because I can't talk about all the occasions right now. So let's just stick to the corporate world. Okay. So long hair means you need to tie it up. You can't really lose it, make it, keep it loose or open, because that will, you know, result in creating distractions. People will get distracted to your hair rather than listen to what you are speaking. Same goes with women. Tie it up well, or at least set it well if you want to keep it open. And for men, the beard also needs to be groomed. You cannot have unkept beard or unkept mustache. And then coming to body odor, it's very important to understand that perfume shouldn't be sprayed onto clothes. Perfume is meant for pulse points. What are the pulse points on our body? The pulse points are the wrists, the points behind our ears, and the neck. Why are these the pulse points? Because the nerve endings over there, it just travels through your body and it stays for a longer duration of time. So those are the pulse points where you need to apply your perfume. Then also take care of your oral hygiene, right? How can you? Of course, by brushing twice a day. Apart from that, avoid eating any pungent smelling food like onion or garlic just before meeting someone. Okay, and if you do, in case you do, then chew a gum and spit it out before you're meeting the person. Okay, simple, very simple. All right. Moving to the next element here, we have body language. Let's just discuss a few tips to body language here. To boost your confidence, assume a power pose. Very simple. Roll your shoulders up. Just pull your shoulders up and roll them back. Okay, have an erect spine, and that will instantly boost your confidence. Connects instantly with someone, shake hands. Shaking hands with someone with a firm grip. Make sure that you don't give a handshake which is limp or with sweaty palms. Make sure that you give a good grip handshake, and this will instantly strike a chord with someone and also helps boost your confidence. To stimulate good feelings, you've got to smile. Don't grill. There is a difference between grilling and smiling. You got to smile. Okay, it gives some warmth to the person and you will look more approachable. Next is increase participation by making eye contact. This is the most important, I would say, guys. You've got to make eye contact. By eye contact, I don't say that, I don't mean that you've got to stare at the person. No. You got to look at the person into the eye and speak, look at each eyeball for about 2 to 3 seconds. And if in case you're uncomfortable, then you've got to look in between both the brows. That is the social gaze, that is the zone of the social gaze. Or you could even look at the nose of the person. That gives the exact same impact. Okay, make eye contact, because that really gives respect. It shows respect to the other person that you're listening to him or her. Okay. Now, next is show agreement, mirror expressions and postures. You can imagine this, right? When you're speaking to somebody and when you agree with someone, you will automatically adopt the same body language that the other person has. For example, if that person has joined hands, or that person is using hand movements, or that person is sitting in a certain way with their hand on the table, you would automatically mirror the expression. You could do this gradually to show that you agree with the person, to show that you're actively listening to the person. Okay. Next is to improve your speech, use your hands. Right now, we can't see each other, but I am, while speaking with you, I'm using my hands. I'm smiling a little bit, because that is improving my speech. That is bringing words to my speech, right? If I keep my hands tied down, it might become difficult for me to, right now I'm at a loss of words because I'm keeping my hands tied up. So don't keep them tied up, don't keep them in your pocket, or don't keep them behind your back. Use your hands while speaking, use hand movements, all right? That really helps you to bring more words to your speech. And the last one is, last but not the least, these are just a few of them. To sound more authoritative, you've got to keep your voice down. It is a myth that if you increase your volume, you are the one that needs to be heard. No, that is a myth. You got to keep your voice down to actually sound more authoritative, to sound more powerful, and it gives more, credibility to you. So keep your voice down to sound more authoritative. All right. So this is about body language. Let's move to the next part. We have just one more part to go with, which is good manners will open doors that the best education cannot. Always remember, for example, if there is a situation where there are two people equally qualified, they have the same skill sets, technical skill sets, educational background, etc., everything, contending for a position, contending for a job application, then who wins? How does the hiring manager or the recruiter know whom do I have to choose? Very simple. The one who has a better first impression wins because that sets you apart from the crowd, from the competition. In fact, this is a very important part of forming your personal brand. People will remember you a certain way when you are actually not around, right? That is personal branding, right? So, good manners will actually open doors that the best education does not, right? And this was said by Clarence Thomas. Now, moving to the last part of the first impressions is etiquette. Very important. Very important. What is etiquette? Etiquette is nothing but manners. It is socially acceptable behavior. How I frame this is there are three R's to etiquette. Okay, this is how it goes. You've got to respect the other person by being responsible of restraining yourself from crossing the line. You must know what is the line that you should not cross. You must respect the other person's culture, the other person's honor. Okay, so there are four categories of etiquette here. First is the social etiquette, where this applies in a situation, for example, if you've gone for a party or any kind of get together, family get togethers, or you're meeting friends or any such kind of a social event. Or next is business etiquette. Business etiquette applies in conferences, business meetings, business retreats. You have corporate retreats. So we have different kinds of business etiquette. How you carry yourself in a corporate environment. That includes, email etiquette, telephone etiquette, meeting etiquette, cubicle etiquette, all of that. All right. Next is the international or cross-cultural etiquette. As the name suggests, how do you behave with somebody who's coming from a different country, from a different culture, from a different ethnicity, right? This is called as the cross-cultural etiquette. In today's world, I'm sure we've all gone global, right? Sitting behind our screens, we've all gone global. We interact with people from multiple countries, right? So we need to be aware of cross-cultural etiquette. And the last one here is dining etiquette. There is certain protocol to be followed when it comes to dining, not just in our country, not just in India, but anywhere. There are different kinds of dining etiquette that is followed in different countries with certain just small amounts of changes. So yes, it's better to know that before we are going into a new atmosphere, a new country. We need to know the etiquette of that particular place to form the powerful and positive first impressions. Powerful first impressions can be both positive or negative. We need to tend towards the positive first impressions, right? So, this is what I had to share with you guys today. And we come to an end. The idea, guys, is to consciously be respectable to our surrounding and build an aura of ourselves wherever we go. All right. I hope that I made a good use of your half an hour, and I hope that I was able to, share some insightful facts here with you all. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Harshita, for having me over.
Hi, Dhwani. Firstly, thanks a lot for the session. It was like really good to hear you and discuss about creating first impressions. We can wait for the people if they have any question, just 1 to 2 minutes more. Until then, I have a question, and it would be great if we can discuss on that. So there is a thing called sense of humor that most of the people actually use it like in the first meeting or first impression. So do
Yes.
you think that have a good effect, or matlab, what it is all about, and how you can actually create good impressions with your sense of humor?
Great question, Harshita. Thank you so much for asking that. According to me, in my opinion, if you have a good sense of humor, it's good for you. But you need to understand that you have to make sure that that particular sense of humor is not demeaning somebody else, is not
Okay.
harming somebody else.
Okay.
So, for example, cracking jokes on a particular gender is not good, even if it's just to create a light atmosphere. Okay.
Okay.
um, I'm not exactly getting an example right now of a particular joke, but I'm sure you know what I mean, right? Cracking
Right.
a
Right.
joke about a woman when there is a woman present in the group is not great, because it might harm that person mentally or emotionally. So if it is something which is very light-hearted and which is not demeaning anybody around, then please go ahead and use it. I would say that definitely creates a positive first impression if it is used in a positive way,
Okay.
right?
Right. And overall just keeping the conversation light and friendly tone. Matlab, it would depend of course on the situation, but overall it can
Yes.
be like feed it with some examples, some tones, some relatable situations, and the person feel more confident and
Yes,
good with
yes,
you.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. For example, even when you're in a group of friends, amongst a group of friends, and if you are like a set of 3 to 4 married couples,
Right.
and one person feels that, oh, I have a great sense of humor, let me crack this joke, and that joke is actually about how a wife is irritating a husband
Yeah.
all the time.
Okay.
All these WhatsApp forwards that we get, that's not a very great idea to, crack a joke. I would say that's going to form a negative impression in fact,
Right. Right.
especially amongst women. Because it is demeaning a certain part of the society or a certain segment of the society, right? So that's what I meant to say. That you can use the sense of humor, but it has to be healthy one, not unhealthy.
Right. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anybody else? Any other questions?
yeah. Also, you can see the chat box. People are discussing there. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know why
Let me
it's
check.
not getting the notification right now.
Huh, huh, huh.
Previously, it was getting a notification, right?
Oh,
Someone
yes.
was typing.
Somdi, thank you so much for being so interactive. Thank you very much. Yes, Nikhil. Yes,
Great.
Nikhil. Absolutely.
So, Dhwani, you can put your LinkedIn and Instagram ID there, and if people are willing, they can connect with you after this session
Oh,
and ask their questions if they have any.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, as I had shared in the presentation as well, the handle is called Upskill with Money, both on LinkedIn as well as on Instagram. And you can
Right.
feel free to connect with me there in case there is anything that you feel I can help you out with. Please feel free. Don't hesitate at all, and I'll be there to guide you in whichever way possible.
Right. Right. Great. So, for once again, thank you so much, Dhwani, for doing this session and giving us your time on a Sunday. So,
It
I
is
hope you
my
enjoyed
pleasure.
it. I hope you find it good. But yeah,
Yes.
thank you, everyone, and thank you, Dhwani.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Harshit. That was my pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Sunday and take care of yourselves.
Great. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.